Hello all, welcome to Selenium Master Session. So today we'll learn what is locator, what locator are supported by Selenium, how to identify the locator. By the end of this session, I believe like you all will master the Selenium locator. So basically what is locator? Locator are the way to identify an HTML element on a web page. Basically you can say for any web page, using a locator you're just identifying a location. Let's say if you are on facebook.com here and if you want to find locator for this email, that means that you are identifying this location of an element. So let's go back here. So what locator are supported by Selenium? Selenium supports ID, name, link text, partial link text, class name, tag name, CSS selector, XPath. So basically my favorite one are link text, CSS selector, and XPath. So those are the highlighted one. Let's go next slide. So basically with regards to the prerequisite here. So before we learn locator, this is basic that we must learn. We're not trying to be a web developer and trying to go through all HTML, but these are the things that we'll need in order to learn. So locator. So what is HTML element? What is HTML? So HTML element is nothing but an element within a web page. So basically this text box, login button, everything is an element in a web page. So why do we need HTML element? So we need to understand the structure, how it looks like. So for any HTML web element, it will be a tag name, content, and again a closing tag name. So it means HTML is nothing a hypertext markup language. So as we see here, like let's say if we wanted to write a paragraph in a web page, it will be p tag here and whatever the paragraph we wanted to write here and the closing p tag. Let me give a quick example here. So in order to inspect a code, you just have to right click, inspect, and you will see the code here. So some of you might have this clicked by default. So this is how the responsive view it will look like. So you just have to uncheck this. And if you wanted to inspect any specific code within a web page, here we do have this arrow button. Let's go ahead and click this. And let's inspect this heading element here. So as you can see here, so the highlighted code belongs to this element. So as you can see here, whenever I hover on top of the code that is being selected, you can see on the web page connect with friends and the world around you on Facebook, that is being highlighted as well. So it means that code belongs to this element. So here what we can see here earlier in the syntax is s2 is the tag name, which is the opening tag, and it is closing here, and as you can see here the tag is being closed like this, right? Earlier we used to have s2 bracket s2 and the content over here. So let's get back to the PowerPoint here. Now next let's go ahead and learn what is HTML attribute. So HTML attribute is nothing but it is just providing additional information about element, whatever the element it is, right? So HTML element may or may not have a attribute. It is not compulsory to must have. So some element may or may not have as well, depending on the need of the code. So attributes are always specified in the start tag. So it means attributes can be found always over here in this section. And lastly, attribute is in name value pair, meaning that it will be in a format of like name equals, and in a code it will be a value. So this is what we'll be mainly focusing on in our locator, the mainly attributes, right? So let me go again in the Facebook here. As you can see here earlier, the code that we inspect, this section is the attribute for this s2 element, right? So as you can see here, class equals, in the double quote there is some value, so it's name value pair, so it's giving extra information about this s2. So This is what the attribute will be. And this is what we'll be mainly focusing on for our locator. Let's get into action. Let's go ahead with the Selenium's locator with an ID. So now we'll just practically learn how to find a locator with ID. So for the ID, we just need to find an attribute within an HTML element where the name of the attribute should be ID. So we'll be getting a value of it. Let's go ahead and get back to this Facebook page. Let's say like we just wanted to have a locator for this input box, right? In the Selenium, we just wanted to add our username, let's say. So over here, I just inspected the code. Now I will just go ahead and try to find like attribute over here. So as I can see here, attribute type is text, type is class, type is name. Oh, perfect. Like here you can see, right? ID and equals email. So as you can see here, back to the PowerPoint, we'll be looking for an attribute where ID equals value, right? So as you can see here, I find something like this. So I find an attribute ID and with a value email, right? So I'll be just copying this email from here, and so my locator is ID and the value will be email. Perfect. So this is how we find the locator of Selenium using. Let's go ahead and find the Selenium locator using name. So let's go ahead and inspect this password field here. So now I'll just go ahead and search with attribute called name, right? So type, as you can see here. So I have an attribute with name. So let me copy the value of this attribute, and this is what it is for. Sorry. So it's a name attribute locator, right? And this is the value that I'll be searching. So let's go ahead and search for the tag name as well. So how do you find using tag name? Tag name especially works if it's a single tag that is being used all over the HTML DOM. So it's not quite recommended, but this is how it accepts. Let's go ahead and say if you wanted to click over here in an image over here. So as you can see here, if this is on the image, you can just go ahead and use this tag name. So this is what the img is a tag name, right? So if you are talking about this text box, input is a tag name. So this is how, so the locator name will be tag name, and you'll be using like img or input, right? Input or s2. This is how you use tag name, right? These are the tag name for. So similarly for the class name as well, we'll go accordingly. For the class name, we'll just look for the attribute called class name, and we'll just get the value, whatever the value comes here. So this is how we find locator name using ID, name, tag name, class name. So going back to name locator here. So we completed ID, name. Let's go ahead and look with a link text, right? So what does the link text mean? So the link text here is, let's say, as you can see here, this is the link, right? Let me go ahead and inspect this section here. So by using, so while using Selenium, the Selenium locator for the link text will be whatever the text that you do have for the link. So as you can see here, this is the um, element over here for the link. So as you can see here, this is what the values of the link is. So we'll just copy the value of link and we'll use that as a locator for this link. So we can just go over here, and so we can use the link text and paste it over here. So we can use this forget password over there in our Selenium code in order to click this link or whatever one we want to do, right? Get text or anything. So this is the value for the link text. Link text generally means you will be getting the whole link for it. And similarly for the partial link text, what it means is you don't have to get the whole link for that. You can just have like half of it. So meaning that, let me format this little bit here. So as you can see here, like if you wanted to go ahead with the same link above, like for the forget password, you can just have forget, and it will automatically go ahead and inspect all the links, and whatever the link text matches, it doesn't need the full section as well. That is what partial link text is. In later in the session, we'll go ahead and use all these locator in our Selenium code and identify. Stay tuned.